Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò.
Good morning to you.
Lórí Facebook.
Good afternoon to you. Good evening to you from wherever you are joining us this noon. It is brunch time with Mayegun.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í kó níbẹ̀ o. Ó bá ṣe àní Mayegun máa wí. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun dára yìí political.
Thank you so much for joining me, and this is me back. Read the caption of the broadcast as usual, the description of the broadcast as well. Like it, share it, invite your friends, invite your not so friendly friends, and tell all of them that Mayegun is back. Motide. 18-year-old is too young to go to the university, but 12-year-old can get married off in Nigeria.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Lórí Facebook. Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Lórí YouTube. Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
I know we do have a lot of catch up to do.
Bàbá Adékúnlé.
I intend to start this afternoon.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Now, for those of you who have actually missed the platform in the last few days, this is your shot to catch up.
Presido Baruf.
And here, what Tifnumbu dictatorship is turning into in Nigeria.
Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í.
Share this.
Ọlọ́pàá ti ń darí bá. Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o. Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Òwúrọ̀ olóṣèlú. Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Àní ẹ̀ súnra kì í. Mayegun ti dé.
Today. So good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you. And good evening to you. Depends on the time you are tuning in and joining us this moment. It's afternoon in Glasgow. Thank you for joining us. The Minister of Education in Nigeria, that's where we're going to start from, okay, is someone from northern part of Nigeria. And they just came out to announce that from next year, they would not allow anyone or any child below the age of 18 and to have certified that they've spent 12 years through primary and secondary education before they will be allowed to write the university entrance examination. It was with Sheung just yesterday, and this is what he had to say.
Dramatically in changing the scenario of the perception of Nigerian university, the quality of education, the output and the quality of research, and how it affects our society, and of course, eventually, leaving no one behind, because those children who are less privileged and those who are privileged, nobody should be left behind in attaining an educationally an education that anyone wants. But the issue of minimum age required to enter Nigerian universities, what exactly is the status now? Is it 18 or 16 years?
Well, nothing has changed, Sheon. It is 18. What we did at the meeting that we had with JAM was to allowed this year, and for it to serve as a kind of notice for parents that, look, this year, yes, JAMB will admit students who are below that age. But from next year, JAMB is going to insist that anybody going to apply to go to University of Nigeria meet the required age, which is 18. And for the avoidance of doubt, this is not a new policy. This is a policy that has been there for a long time. And even basically, if you compute the number of years learners are supposed to be in school, the number you end up with is 17 and a half. From early child care to primary school, then junior secondary school, and then the senior secondary school. You would end up with 17 and a half. And by the time they are ready, the school year is ready for admission, you have that's the age that they will be ready for admission. So we are not actually coming up with new policy contrary to what some people are saying. We are just simply reminding people of what is existing. And in any case, NECO and WAEC henceforth will not be allowing underage children to write their examinations. In other words, if somebody has not spent the requisite number of years, in that particular level of study, WAEC and NECO will not allow them to write the examination.
What is the minimum age to write those examinations in Nigeria?
It's not a matter of age. It's actually the years spent at each level of education.
So the one imagine that there are stages of education in Nigeria.
Yes.
There is the primary education.
Even before that, early care.
Early
5 years. Yeah.
5 years.
5 years.
You entered primary one at 6.
Yes.
Yeah. You are supposed to spend 6 years.
6 years there
in primary school.
Exactly.
As at 12, you are expected to graduate if you are not a repeater of any of the class.
That's right.
So you move at 12 to JSS1,
which is 3 years again.
Which is 3 years.
Yeah.
So at 15, you're expected to move to the senior secondary class.
3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
So at 18, you are expected to graduate.
That's right. I'm ready for university.
So when we imagine that there are smart students.
Yes.
It means that no matter how smart you are, you must confine to those ages. I mean, to the minimum age requirement, isn't it?
At the moment, this is what we have, but it's very legitimate to appeal to look at that window and say, okay, how do we cater for our smart children? And this is a conversation for another day. Well, other countries too, they do similar. They have their age, specifications for each level of education. But again, they look at the possibility of smart children. But, a lot of times in our own country, what sometimes is a window eventually becomes the door. So it's a conversation for another day.
That's what they are doing. But let me explain it to you. Indeed, the Nigeria education system in stages means that you are allowed to register your child at the age of 6 to go to primary 1. Then they will spend 6 years in primary education. Then they will go to the junior secondary school, 3 years. Then from there to senior secondary school, 3 years, making it 12 years. It's always been like that. Okay? Or within that space as well, we've had the children, yes, brilliant, students who have sat and then wrote the same external examination when their own tutors felt like they were kind of ready to do that. And then they also excelled. We've had a lot of them who have actually excelled. We've had a lot of them, and it's not just Nigeria. All over the world, you will see someone at the age of 16, 15, writing the college examination, or even like gaining access into the college or university. But that's not like everybody can do it. Everybody can jump into it. It's always there. But they had no plan for that. But guess what? Their own children doesn't write JAMB. Their children don't write WAEC, all these things that they kind of make you, that they said about rules. Their children usually sit for what they call SAT. And most of them are outside the country. At the age of 16, 15, they are in colleges. 16, 17, they are in universities all over the world, where these criminals are coughing out huge chunk of stolen money to fund them. Now, their priority is not about how to get as many children as possible enrolled in schools and make it more, educationally conducive for them to want to be in those environments, right? But to fix education in Nigeria, we have to stop anyone who is below 18 from sitting and writing JAMB. But that's not the same when it comes to child marriages in northern Nigeria. Last year, just recently, in October 2023, Kano State government spent 843 million naira. Yeah, you heard me right. 843 million naira to marry off 1,400 couples. Majority of them have no job. To the point that it became the duty of the state government to marry out children. Because according to them, it is sunnah in Islam, in order to stop a girl child from becoming wayward or blah, 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 it is better to marry them off as early as possible. And it is a state government policy in northern Nigeria, where a state spent over 843 million naira on one single location to marry off children. I'll show you. In that same Kano State, education is not really a thing. Now you have somebody from that part in charge of education, where they've always had them from that part. Guess what? They are more interested in making, sorry, there's so much light that just flashed through. So they have this, what you call penchants, okay, for making ridiculous policies that never, for any reason, supports education. But child marriage, see them. It's called a child marriage. And 99% of those who are benefited from that, they have no real education and they have no real job, no real skill. But the criminal politicians from northern Nigeria, they've done so well for themselves that it is a state policy. Here is one of their affairs inspecting the bed, the furniture, the bag of rice that will be given to each couple after the ceremony, state-sponsored wedding.
na zanin gado da kulluka guda biyu da su ana gani da kuma madubi da kabet nan mai abinan guda hudu da kuma wannan katan ne na taliya ce kuma makaroni da kuma buhun shinkafa da jarkan mai yawa wannan dama gado yana tare da su wannan shine abin da wannan wato gado da mai girma gwamna zai kowace amarya amaran nan 1,800 na local gama 44 na kowace irin wannan samfur din yadda aka yi wannan haka za a kai dukkan local government na 44 irin wannan za a yi wanda bai irin wannan ba za mu ɗauke ya canza mana domin abin da muka yi alkawari da su kenan sannan kuma akwai sadaki na 50,000 za a ba ta sadaki na 50,000 sannan kuma za a ba su jari na 20,000 sannan kuma za a yi musu ɗinki na atamfa da hijabi wanda za su sa a ranar biki sannan su kuma angwayen za a yi musu a shadda fara yadi 5 da kuma hular da za su makala a kansu a ranar angwanci kenan wanda sauran kuma al'umma da suka yi mana alkawari za su tagomashi masu bayar da kiret ɗin kwai da masu bayar da sauran kayayyaki muna nan da za mu rubuta musu da an sa ranar adaurin aure za mu rubuta al'umma su shigo domin su tallafa ma waɗannan angwaye da wannan amare da wato za a yi auren su nan ba da daɗewa ba insha Allah a wannan jiha ta mu ta Kano. Shi wannan aure yana da abubuwa guda uku. Na farko yana taimakawa iyaye musamman cikin tattalin arzikin da aka shiga na wahala. Za ga mutane ana ta sa auren 'ya'yansu amma saboda babu kuɗi babu hali sai ka ga
I've never seen anything like that in my life. But guess what? It is so popular in northern Nigeria that Boko Haram will never lack they will never lack recruits because they've been ingrained and made them believe that indeed education is an haram. But pedophilia, child marriage, child rape, sodomizing boys, all these horrible sins, if we have to use their Sharia, they are not sins to these lunatics mixed up in what is famously known as the Zoological Republic of Nigeria. It's a shame, right? Nigeria currently have over 22 million out of school children. Yeah. Who are currently living in that system. No skill, no education, no care. But whenever these depraved men want to kind of satisfy their lust, they jump onto Sharia in order to what? To sexually enslave their children. This is something in that place. And their elite, oh dear, they have every idea of what their people need and want. Somehow, that has now become what Nigeria wants. Yeah. Their own children can have access to the best education money can buy as soon as possible. But the children of those who they are stealing from, they have to follow the rules. The rules that says, no matter how brilliant you are, yeah, we don't want you to kind of quickly grow so fast enough that you begin to challenge our own children. Because you will serve their children. And your children will serve their children. If that's something you probably feel comfortable with, I get, shift. Because this can't be the trajectory of, in Koto, 200 million people. I know Nigeria has been captured, no doubt. But at the same time, stuffs like this are just to remind you that if you are comfortable with some of what they are doing, maybe it is time for you to begin to see beyond just yourself and see that they are out to ruin just everything. And they will do it legally. Yeah, even though they are illegitimate, they will still do it in the way they will call it legal. Just like, what do you call it? Just like what Tifnubu did swearing in a criminal as your CJN, but acting without the confirmation of the National Assembly. But it's okay. They will confirm her in 3 months, and then yeah, they will swear for her again. Yeah, they will do things in a way that will make it look like yeah, illegal stuff legally, or somehow vice versa. Nigeria education system needs improvement, yes. Needs investment, absolutely. But you see this nonsense, policy nonsense, right? It is just to further keep not just yourself that they have done it to, but your children too. You cannot aspire more than where they, the ceiling they put on you. So the few of you are going to be the outliers. When they asked him, what about those brilliant tribes and students, even from northern Nigeria, where they've made them believe, where they've made us believe that a quota system is to help the North, because the Northerners are brainless. The Northern children, they don't have any mental capacity, okay? Like their Southern counterparts, which is wrong, which is a lie. But guess what? They engrave it, or, they kind of inserted it into their system. Quota system that says anybody from northern part of Nigeria is a dullard, a very stupid, ignorant, unteachable sort of, cavemen. That's what I see it as. And it is the doing of their criminal elites who decided to say, for northern Nigeria to catch up with the southern Nigeria, it is not to invest in the education, it is to change and tweak the policy to accommodate them. And they kept it that way. And in order to keep that belief, to keep it going, they still have that quota system that makes a child from Zamfara to enter a unity school, secondary school, with just a 2/100 score or 1/100 score mark. While a child that scores 60 in Anambra is told to go and receipt, is failed. She's failed if you score 60/100. Now that's the system they are operating in that place. Then at the same time, they also make sure that the quota system as well shows that, okay, yeah, the northern Nigeria must head prominent positions with shitty educations they are giving them. Yeah, no matter how much education what you say you won't get from southern Nigeria, there is one there is one illiterate that could barely write his name, but he's a doctor that's going to lead your team. And that is how they are like making you believe that Nigeria want to progress. How? When you add the other impunity and the others to their actions from our side, then you know that no, Nigeria is not going anywhere. Done for. It didn't allow education to spread in northern Nigeria for a reason. It is to control the ignorance. Now it's going to be the lot of the rest of Nigeria. Somebody just said that now. Awolowo laid a foundation on education in western Nigeria. So not only the Westerners benefited, including, non-Westerners from northern Nigeria, from eastern part of Nigeria, from other part of Nigeria who benefited from that solid, education in western Nigeria. Free. But now, we are now breeding illiterate bigots who are pretty much more like, tribal champions than to have something, to have skills, to have education. Because there is no investment in education. Now, not just in the northern Nigeria, it has become a thing of almost the entire Nigeria. And sad of it all is that of western Nigeria, the place where we always brag that, we have this legacy of education. They are like respectful people. We are still very much educated, enlightened. It's just unfortunate that the Omoalis, the bastards among us, they've managed to gain power. They hate their people. They hate the land. But they are feeding from it. So education, no investment. Healthcare, no investment. The young people, no investment. Right? We are now breeding our own alimajiri at a never seen before rate. A total decline that should actually jolt you when you look at all these things that we have adopted. Where they have, should I say adopted or forced on the rest of you? By these criminals. And you should know, when they come for your children, that should get you mad. It's unfortunate. The majority of you can't even separate, the immediate ruin and the long-term ruin that these guys represent, enough that you could easily cower behind them. Their children will not be under any of these rules. No. But their children will go out there to the UK, to America, all over the place. Get whatever education they can get. And then they have